am sure sports. You know me there, from coast to coast representing. I mean, I say this is righteous representing for Omar. You don't know, come get the sports over here from near and far. Boy. Me say I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. I am sure sports, one thing me sure about. When me say sure, that me not doubt. Come get your sports, get it over here. Come subscribe, repost and share. If me not sure, that me not say it. Know who score, that me not say it. Never know no game play, that me not say it. If me never see no game, me no know who play. For your sports news, better come over here so. For your soccer news, then come over here so. If you don't love sports, still come over here so. For the day done, you are gonna love over here so.
So when it comes on to behavior concerning football, Jamaica is decent. I am sure that if we can get all of these things done, set in place by the end of April, it gives us enough time before the World Cup campaign. Not afraid of no Brazil, no Argentina with these crapper players. We are good enough. Remember to like, subscribe, share. Listen, comment, let me know what your thoughts are.
Made up of 18 Jamaican herbs and spices, add delicious, bold flavor to your next grilling experience. Flavoring sauce, a marinade, basting, condiment, or topping. Trick Nick Jerk Barbecue Sauce.
Trick Nick Jerk Marinade gives your meats and vegetables authentic Jamaican jerk flavor. The spices are directly from Jamaica. Spices like jerk seasoning, allspice, Scotch bonnet pepper, fresh scallions, thyme, ginger, and garlic. The key ingredients to a great jerk marinade. 0% sugar and low in sodium. You want to try it?
Hello. Good afternoon, and how are you doing? This is I Am Sure Sports, and my name is Pioneer. I know the name you're seeing on the screen right now is Mannings Man, but my name is Pioneer. This is another one in our edition of what we call Around the NBA. Ladies and gentlemen, it's been a while since we have been here. Actually, it's been all of 3 weeks. A few situations beyond control, a few other pressing matters to attend to. And, that is the reason why we were off here for a little while. But we are back. And we are back with a bang. Very, very interesting days around, things happening around the NBA. I have a couple of regular faces, a couple of knowledgeable NBA analysts with me. I got all the way from Arkansas, the man, Chris Lynch, in the house. Chris Lynch, welcome forward, my brethren.
Yeah, man.
Long time I don't see you, my brethren. Long time. Good to see you, brethren. And we also have the man, Preacher, one of the preeminent voices on sports call radio in Jamaica. A man who I rate highly. His sporting acumen and also his basketball acumen. We should be joined later on by National, all the way from Canada. Gentlemen, welcome. Lots of interesting things happening in the sporting world. Lots and lots of interesting things happening in the basketball world. Boys and girls champs is on as we speak here in Jamaica. Very interesting champs happening. But the NBA, gentlemen, is coming down to the real business end of the season. We are at the end, almost at the end of the regular season. Only 2 days left in the regular season. We have a few games on tonight. And then we have all of 15 games on tomorrow. All teams will be playing tomorrow. The playoff picture is already, both playoff and play-in picture is already has already taken shape. We know all the teams that will be in the playoff. I think this is last two round of games, we'll just decide a few of the seedings, a few places might be swapped around here and there. But gentlemen, I'll allow you, both of you gentlemen, to give a brief synopsis on how you think the regular season has panned out so far. Give me your highs, give me your lows. I'll start with you, Preacher.
I mean, it's good to start from the bottom up. I mean, I think everybody who has been watching the NBA all season have been looking at the Los Angeles Lakers because of the assembling of this team at the beginning of the season. Pundits like yourself, Pioneer, would have indicated that the addition of Russell Westbrook really was not going to make the Lakers much better. There are others who thought that, I mean, if you have Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, AD, and the likes of Carmelo Anthony, then these basketball players will just figure it out. But as we have come to realize, the Lakers are not in the play-in, not going to be in the playoffs at all. It's going down as perhaps one of the worst seasons in Laker basketball history, based on the anticipation, based on the investment. So that's definitely a big low in terms of the Los Angeles Lakers and just basketball in general. I don't know that we're going to enjoy the playoffs as much without the Lakers participating in it. I mean, even if they didn't go anywhere, we still wanted to see LeBron James, we still wanted to see AD, we still wanted to see Russell Westbrook. So that's definitely a low for me. In terms of a high point, I think the performance of two teams in particular for me, I think the Boston Celtics, the second half of the season, post the mid-season break, well, not really the mid-season break, but more post the All-Star break, have really been very impressive. Kudos to their coaching staff for finding a way to get the team to be playing the best basketball of all the teams in the NBA at the right time. And I'm very impressed with them, not sleeping on them. Don't necessarily think they're going to win it all, but they're definitely dangerous going into the postseason. And then the Memphis Grizzlies. I would have said in a previous show that they go as Jamaran goes, but then having watched them a little bit closer, Pioneer, I think you were right. This team is a well-built team. They're young, they're fearless, they're playing good basketball on both ends, defensively and offensively. And I think going into the postseason, I mean, they are going to be dangerous in the West. The Suns are obviously the team that most people think are going to come out of the West, but this Memphis team, on any given night, they're going to beat anybody. And so it's going to be interesting to see them in the playoffs. So those are my lows, starting with the Lakers, and my highs, Celtics and Memphis, two very good young teams playing good basketball at the right time.
Very good observations, Preacher. Thank you very much. I want to welcome, we're also welcoming CC from CC Sports Lab joining us. CC, welcome forward, my brethren. I don't know if you heard the question that I just asked, Preacher. I'll say it and give you a little time to think about it. We're just asking your views, and I'm going to go to Chris Lynch first before I come to you, CC. We're just asking you gentlemen to give your views as to, you know, how you have seen the regular season. We are almost at the end of the regular season, the highs and the low. But we'll go to Chris Lynch first, and then we'll come to you, CC. Chris, tell me your highs and what has transpired so far in the regular season and your low points.
Yeah, just to start where Preacher left off, when you look at the Lakers, obviously trading away so many pieces to get one player, it was always the expectation that the Lakers were going to do good, doing so much business. You don't trade away all your young pieces and then you get that one player and it doesn't work out. So obviously that is a big disappointment for Lakers fans and for LeBron fans. No LeBron in the playoff. Pioneer don't like that himself as a LeBron detractor. He loves when LeBron is in the playoffs because he wants to beat him in big moments. But just to go back to again the Nets is also a low point. Kyrie Irving, we know the situation coming into the season that Kyrie Irving wasn't going to be vaccinated, didn't interested in getting vaccinated. So that's a low point. KD came back and was doing KD stuff. But like the Lakers, one player just cannot make a team, and that's what took place with the Nets, and they fell. They fell luckily they are in the playoffs. That would have been a travesty had KD and LeBron both missed the playoffs. It would have been a big travesty in terms of NBA basketball because we like to see the superstars.
Definitely.
But, yeah, so those are the two lows. But in terms of eyes, it's just obvious. I think everybody eyes is going to be with the Boston Celtics. We came here weeks before they start treading upwards, Pioneer, and we were saying something is wrong. This team was underperforming and should be better and should be doing better in terms of performances. And just as we talk about it, I think the very next 2 days after when they played, I think that they just start winning games that plenty of us would probably say, oh, Boston is going to lose.
I remind you about something, Chris. Stick up in. I remember I was coming here 1 week and I was saying, boy, they're not clicking. There's something missing. And then after watching them in that same week of basketball, I came back here the following week and said that I'm seeing something, and I was talking them up at that point. But and as you are saying, they have been showing some, they have been showing what they are capable of and what they can do coming into the postseason.
Yeah, that was probably a month ago. So to show you how good they were playing, they were in 7th at the point when we start discussing them. I know I think they are in 3rd or so, and they have over 50 games now, win over 50 games. So that's a very good point. And just to go back to the next high point, it has to be with Dallas and Memphis. Dallas trade did work out. That's the good thing about having your young pieces. So if something is not going right in the season, you can make a trade like what Dallas did. They send away Porzingis.
Yeah,
they got Spencer Dinwiddie, and the Lakers couldn't do that because they trade away all their young players, put their eggs in one basket, and then when they were supposed to make a change, they couldn't do it because
the trade window, couldn't do any business on trade window.
They had no interest from no other teams that to say we want this player or whatever, and we know how draft picks are with them. So that was a big problem for that. That's a good point for Dallas, and they are looking even better without the unicorn they call him Porzingis. So I like that. But when you ask me about who was going to win in the West, I was waiting for a team named Memphis. They just showing me that they probably be a team that is going to be right up there and are going to give teams trouble. And you specifically pointed out, Pioneer, that their teams are going to probably have trouble playing them. And that's why I haven't picked a winner yet, because I think the West is even more, I believe from a long time that the West is even more poised and even more interesting, because I knew that Bulls that you had in a top 5, I didn't scare them.
You mean the East or the West?
The East. I just didn't scare the Bulls, and you have some more teams that they put in it that I don't care. But Memphis must be scared without a Ja Morant and doing so great.
Definitely. CC, hey, give me your synopsis. High points, low points for the regular season so far.
I mean, the high points I would say for the regular season so far is to me is Nikola Jokic, right? The fact that Nikola Jokic, look at it like this, Pioneer. Every team, this NBA season has been riddled with injuries to all teams. So when you hear a lot of persons talking about the Lakers have been injured, Russell Westbrook is just sitting out games. Westbrook has played, I believe, for the better part of 70 games. He probably
all games now, all games except 2. The one that the coach benched
so basically
him. 3, 2 last games and the one that the coach.
4 games. He probably not play 4 games. But it's just
probably 3 or 4 games, definitely.
Yeah. So if you are comparing a Lakers with a Russell Westbrook who has played 76 games then. AD has played 40 games. Markey has been injured, probably in and out the lineup. LeBron played 56 games. Not going to play anymore because he don't want people to say he's going for the scoring title, which he was. But because he was going for it.
I agree with you. CC.
Because it's going to look bad. It's going to look bad on him. Say them say, I'm going to sit out the rest of the season.
Definitely.
Total foolishness. Better you just do go win the title and say, see it there, another chink in my armor for the at 37-year-old Mona scoring title. But anyway, Nikola Jokic is not playing with I think it's Devontae. I same name Deja. He's not playing with
Jamal Murray.
Jamal Murray, but he's not playing with the third best either.
Michael Porter Jr.
He's missing 2 players. Right?
Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray.
Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray, and he has a record of 48 and 33, I think. So if a man is going to say to me that a team that had, for example, in a Lakers who had Russell Westbrook, who is supposed to be an all-time great player, Hall of Famer, at the ripe old age of 33, and they can't even get a record like that, it's just what would I say now? Hypocrisy, because you're going to say that injuries made them not finish higher, but not even in the plane. Pelicans for the better amount part. Pelicans not have nobody.
Pelicans traded away a lot of their pieces. Well, they traded away some pieces. They got CJ McCollum, but at the point they were sitting out Brandon Ingram, thinking that they were not gonna be in contention for even.
They were tanking.
Yeah, man, definitely.
That was tanking is finishing above you. Anyway, I'm just saying the high point for me with Nikola Jokic is this. Nikola Jokic has been so consistent in the fact that every year the MVP conversation, then put Embiid in front of him, then put Giannis in front of him, then you'd have Steph Curry at one point in time. There's everybody coming there. So yeah, Kevin Durant was in it. All of these players was in it.
LeBron at one point, DeMar DeRozan at one point, LeBron James at one point.
LeBron James at one. The guy from Bulls, DeMar DeRozan.
Yeah, I just mentioned
him. Jokic has been the most consistent in the fact that he's averaging over 28, 14 and 8.
Yeah, man.
Shooting 50%.
Haven't missed any games with injury.
50%, 52% from the field.
So with that CC, I'm assuming that you're saying that Jokic is your MVP for the season.
I mean, all right, if you really look into it, I hear a lot of persons about number 4 seed, number 3 seed. I think all of that is rubbish, because when you look in the grand scheme of things, if you were to amalgamate or to consolidate the standings, right? I think that is how MVP should be looked at. You consolidate the standings between both East and the West.
All right.
That's a good point. And then you probably pick from the top 4 if you want to pick like that. But you cannot be saying that the 4th seed from the East. If a person, for example, Giannis is one.
You're thinking about wins and losses. So you're saying that there are some teams in the East who have a higher seeding than the Nuggets, but the Nuggets has a better record than them.
That is what I'm saying. So you really can't, for a person to say, oh, this team was in the 3rd seed and the Nuggets is in 6th seed. So you can't get a player in a 6th seed. But you have to take into consideration the teams that they're facing. How many 50-plus teams are in the East? So how many?
To speak to what you're saying, the Nuggets have a record of 48 and 33.
Yeah, the Nuggets are
6th. All right. The Raptors are in 5th in the East, and they have a record. They have a similar record. All right. The Sixers have a record of 49 and 31, which would be kind of comparable to the Nuggets, and they are in 5th, in 4th in the East. So I understand exactly what you're saying, CC.
But it's just that I was just saying that with Nikola Jokic, it's just, as I said, it to me it would be criminal if they don't give him the MVP and they give somebody else, because the fact that he's done more with less, and you have to take into consideration in the East you have 3 50-plus teams, right? Which is the East, the Bucks and the Celtics. 50 wins. In the West you have a 60-plus team. You have a team that has won 60-plus games. You have Grizzlies who have 55 games. Then you have 2 other 50-plus games with 51 in the Warriors, Mavericks 51. And then so if you really look into it,
I get the point, man. I get the point, CC, and I agree with you. All right, give me your low point. Give me a low point.
The low point right now is the Lakers, because no matter what anybody wants to say, for them to be coming and saying Kendrick Nunn if you check everybody, a lot of people, some Lakers fans, they're telling you about Kendrick Nunn being out and Kendrick Nunn being their what? Fourth best player in the team. The fourth best player probably in the team. They're saying that they're blaming the fact that you could not make
probably when you consider somebody like a Dwight Howard and Carmelo Anthony, you'd probably feel like he's probably sixth best player. So
yeah, but it's just the reason why I'm putting him in front of Dwight Howard and Carmelo is because he's younger and he probably can give you a bit more in terms of
all right.
defensive
Fair
wise.
enough.
But I'm just showing you that for persons to come and say that it is absolutely atrocious and outrageous for the Lakers not to make a play in. Remember, this is not even the original method of the playoffs, which is 8 teams. You couldn't even make a play in tournament. And when you look at the roster, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, Dwight Howard, Russell Westbrook, Anthony Davis, and then you have a Malik Monk, you have a bunch of other role players, and you're saying to me that you couldn't make them. So it has to be the lowest point. And then guess what happened? It's so low to the fact that you have teams down below them who are not competing. These teams are not competing to be nowhere. So you have to see that the Lakers is the worst team in the West.
Tanking teams like the Rockets and the Thunder.
Exactly. So you are absolutely the worst team in the West. So you're what? 17, 18 games? Because they won last night. They're 17.
They won the last two. They won last night. Yeah, they beat the Thunders last night.
They're 17 games outside 500.
500.
So it's absolutely abysmal. There's no I'm
gonna pick up from there, CC.
Paul George, I will say this before.
Go ahead.
Paul George and Kawhi Leonard is out of the Clippers. And the Clippers is a
Paul George is back. Paul George is back.
Yeah, but I'm saying for the better most part of it, Paul George already played no role in the Clippers regular season.
Sure.
So when persons are saying LeBron and these guys are in and out the lineup, whose fault is it that they're in and out the lineup with AD and these guys? They should be making at least the plane. Remember, LeBron said he never liked the plane. It's a rubbish team. Now they cannot even make the plane.
I want to pick up from there. All right, and I'm going to start with my low point. Obviously, the Lakers is a low point. It's the lowest point in the NBA, and I dare anybody to disagree with that. But what makes it even a lower point than you would even look at the regular scope is that the San Antonio Spurs is a team that was tanking at one point in the season. The San Antonio Spurs has not played their best player, DeJounte Murray, for the last 6 or 7 games. And they still manage to overtake the Lakers in the standing for that final playing spot. I think that speaks to how low of a low point that is for the Los Angeles Lakers. I predicted it somehow though, because I remember on a podcast I said I gave them a 50-50 chance when I saw how they were playing. All right, I want to identify something that is similar, and my other low point in the season would be the New York Knicks. And these two teams kind of mirrored each other this season. Both teams develop a habit and a reputation this season for taking big leads into the second half of a game and blowing them. We have seen the Knicks. When I look at the Knicks play, I cannot understand how the Knicks couldn't even make the play in this season. They have played as well as they have played better than their standing. When I look at their roster, when I look at how RJ Barrett is playing, and I've seen the Knicks blow probably 15 or 16 games where they had either a 15-point lead.
One against the Lakers.
And even in some cases a bigger lead than that. And the Lakers has basically these two teams, which are probably two most popular franchises in basketball, has managed to mirror each other this season, blowing big leads at the end of games. And that speaks to, and we are in, for the Knicks, it's disappointing. It is worse for the Lakers. I think that a team that has 4 of the top 75 greatest players in the NBA, even with the little injury bug that they have had, you'd think that they should be doing better. As to the high points to me, the Grizzlies obviously are a high point. The Boston Celtics, as we spoke about, I remember at one point in the season, the Boston Celtics was at 13th in the East. And to now rise to being second on the standing, contending for the second or third seed, for me, that is just amazing. We kind of wrote them off. I remember I was writing them off on this podcast at one point. and they have proved us wrong. And I think they're going to be a very dangerous team in the playoffs. Another high point for me is, and it's the highest point, is the Phoenix Suns. And even though I've kind of sensed a little trend at the end of the season, their last 2 games, little disappointing. I know that winning is a habit, and you're going into the playoffs, you want to continue the winning habit. But the way how they have executed all season is a no. By the way, they didn't lose last night.
No, they
came
won.
back and won last night. They came back and that they came back and won. I'd written them. As a matter of fact, I was following that game. Stopped following the score, thinking they had lost because they were down, and they actually came back. They actually came back and won the game. And quite opposite to the Celtic, to the Knicks and the Lakers. The Phoenix Suns I've seen them down probably in about 10 games that they were down and out in the fourth quarter, just like they did last night, and they have managed to come back in those games, and they have come back and won those games, and won, in some cases they have won them convincingly. So for me, the Phoenix Suns, with their good record, in spite of being in the finals last year, but just the way how they have gone about this season has to be highlighted for me. They have been a dominant team. There was a point when they were in like run jostling with the Golden State Warriors. I remember them losing on Christmas Day to Golden State, and persons were thinking that the Golden State team was the best team in basketball. Golden State obviously has had some injury issues, but Phoenix has been consistent throughout the season. They have maintained, just that high level of play. I was saying to somebody 2 days ago that Phoenix has 3 quality players in every position on the court, and they are gonna be a very, 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 very hard team to beat in this postseason. Gentlemen, so let us take a look at some of the prospective matchups. I didn't mention the Nets. They are now sitting in 7th. They play tomorrow against the Pacers. If they beat the Pacers, they will cement themselves into the 7th seed, which means they will be in the play-in and they will have home court throughout the play-in. So if they were to lose the first game, they'll still have home court versus the winner of the 9-10 series. And if they win, obviously they would be the 7th seed. Let's take a look at some of the possible matchups going into the postseason. We'll start with you, Chris Lynch. We're going to start out east now. And then we're going to start out east. And then we'll just go around the table, look at the east, and then we'll look at the west. Possible matchups for the playoffs.
Yeah, in terms of that, I was looking at it last night, Pioneer, and I was saying that the Nets are going to lose that last game. They want to have nothing to do with Giannis and the Bucks, because that's where if they win and they cement the 7th spot, that's who they're looking to play. That you must tank. This is the right time to tank and to avoid teams.
They say they need to take a L.
Yeah, you must lose this game and fancy yourself of finishing 8th and have a better chance against each team that they must feel more confident of. You don't want to see Giannis again in a first round matchup. So that's a no-no for the Nets.
All right, so we're looking at a possibly. All right, so let's look at who you see coming out of the plane. So you see the Nets coming out of the plane. You're saying that they possibly should lose against the Pacers, get the 8th seed, but they'll still be the 8th seed.
They have to lose that game. So they have to lose that game.
So you're suggesting, Chris, that they should lose the first. They should lose. By the way, the Bucks play the Cavs tomorrow. If the Bucks lose to the Cavs, I think the Celtics have won the season series, so the Celtics could slide into the 2nd seed. I think that is how it goes. So there's a possibility.
The Celtics have the tiebreaker.
The Celtics have a tiebreaker. So if the Bucks were to lose to the Cavs, there's a possibility that Celtics could slide into the second seed. Celtics has Grizzlies at Grizzlies. So that's an interesting one. So if Celtics were to beat the Grizzlies and the Bucks were to lose to the Cavs, then Celtics would get the 2nd seed. But back to what you were saying, Chris Lynch. You are saying that the Brooklyn Nets should take a chance on losing the first playing game and gamble with winning the second playing game versus the 8-9, the 9-10
Which should be
winner,
Hornets. Which should be
Hornets and Hawks.
yeah.
Remember they lost badly to the Hawks recently, you know. So, you know, that's a gamble.
It's a rough thing. It must be a rough choice now for Steve Nash and Brooklyn, because I know that they don't want to have nothing to do with Giannis and the Bucks. That would be a good warm-up match for Giannis, and that would be bad again for other teams that's going to play the Bucks after the Nets, because
having
Nets
played
need
such an
something.
intense series, yeah.
Yeah, the Nets need something going before they buck up in a quality team like the Bucks.
All right.
Yeah, but I think Philly is where the next problem lays. I don't think they want to see the Raptors, and that's who they're going to see. And it's going to be an interesting series. I think the Raptors psychologically the other night when they beat them, show them that they want them. James Harden underperformed.
Yeah.
So that's going to be it's shaping up to be a very good like the season has been good, because outside of Lakers disappointment, some good basketball has been playing. And I think based on the series that's about to happen, I think there's a lot of interesting. You don't want to miss a game.
All right, so let's work out the standing as it's right now. Bulls, Celtics. How you see that going? So we're just assuming that all the teams retain their current positioning. So the Bulls in the 3rd seed, the Bulls in the 6th seed, the Celtics in the 3rd seed.
Yeah, I think a favorable matchup for Boston. I think they couldn't have asked for a better matchup than that. I think Jason Tatum and Cole must believe that they can get past the Bulls, and I favor them.
All right. I say you favor the Raptors over the Sixers in that 4-5 matchup. As it stands, the Nets would play the Bucks, as you said. You said what, Giannis? The Heat versus the Cavs. The Heat versus the
Hawks,
Cavs are Hornets.
Yeah. I think it's going to end up be the Hawks, and I think the Heats come out of that one.
All right. Preacher, give me your views on as to how you see it shaping up based on the current standing. If you see any changing at the standings as it is right now, and how do you preview the matchups that will be happening in the playoffs?
Well, I mean, I think Chris Lynch kind of got it right. The Nets really don't want to be playing against the Bucks in the first round. They really want to kind of get a rhythm going, hopefully to get Ben Simmons fit enough so that he can add some defensive presence going into probably the second round of the playoffs. You know, that's a hope, because we don't know what's going on with him really. So avoiding the Bucks at all costs is perhaps on Steve Nash's agenda. But I actually do think that we're going to see that matchup. They may want to avoid it, but based on how things are right now, it looks that is the likely matchup that we're going to see. And guess what? It's kind of sad that a team with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving would want to be avoiding anybody. You know what I mean? True. That for us to be even having that conversation is sad. The problem with the Nets is that they can't defend to save their lives. So, playing against a team like the Bucks would definitely be a L in a playoff series. The other matchups that you spoke about, I think Miami versus Atlanta, I wouldn't necessarily say Miami as a definite win if they're supposed to be playing Atlanta. The thing with the Hawks is the Hawks are a streaky team. They're very streaky. So if you watch them play, they tend to go hot and cold, but if they find a rhythm, and I think a Miami series would give them a good opportunity to find the kind of rhythm. And Miami series, I think, would be determined by the play of the guards. And I particularly think that Atlanta has the better guard playing right now. Trey, as he's been leading the team in scoring, he's finding his rhythm again. He looks very good. He looks like the Trey from last season. So I don't think Miami would necessarily be a sure win. Might be a 7-game series, if you ask me. That Atlanta team is a tough team to play. Boston versus Chicago. That's the only series Chicago would even stand a chance in winning 2 games. Not because Boston aren't good, as I said, they're a high point for me. But I think in terms of matchups, Chicago may actually stand a chance of competing in that series as opposed to playing any other teams, because Chicago is not necessarily a big team. They're a much smaller team than the other teams generally outside of their center.
In terms of size, Vucevic.
Yeah, in terms of size. But I think in general, the series that everybody's looking forward to is really the Bucks versus the Nets. And then we see James Harden not playing well, which I said he wouldn't. And we know when it comes into the playoffs, James Harden is going to go hiding. So the Sixers will be in a lot of trouble against the Raptors because they only will be playing with one superstar.
All right. CC, give me your synopsis now. How you see looking out east?
I think looking out east, I think a lot of persons, the fact that Kevin Durant never met the 70% game threshold is the only reason why he's not going to win the scoring title. Because he hasn't played 58 games. He had missed 2 many games. Kevin Durant is averaging 30.05 or so 30 points.
Yeah, man, he has the best average of all the active
currently. And you know Kevin Durant's average last year in the playoffs was 34, 9, and 4 point something assists. And he has upped his assists this season. And if anybody knows Kevin Durant, when it comes on to the playoff, his averages goes up. His efficiency goes up. And he's a man who love him if nothing else. For to me, what the problem I think holds Kevin Durant back amongst all the great players is efficiency. He takes his efficiency a little bit too serious, and I think it tends to hold him back. Because Kevin Durant will shoot like 16 shots. The other night, Kevin Durant gave you 55. And how many shots? So I think that is his issue. I think he has to be more aggressive on the ball. And if your efficiency goes down to like 47%, nothing is wrong with 47 scoring 36. Scoring at an average of 36, because I think Kevin Durant is capable. Remember, Kevin Durant is giving you 34 at 50% in the playoff. So imagine that 36 is, so to me,
with all that said, though, CC, I want to ask you, let me just pick your brain. How do you see a series between the Bucks and the Nets going? A rematch?
That is what I'm saying. I'm coming to you now. I am saying Nets in 7. I believe Kevin Durant wants that game.
I repeat that last
year. Kevin Durant needs that game. But I'm telling you, Kevin Durant needs that game. That game, right. Because there's no way. For example, right now Kevin Durant may be being a top 12 player. If Kevin Durant needs to redeem himself, and he needs to face the Bucks now. If somebody else kicks the Bucks out and Kevin Durant ended up going on to win the championship, it wouldn't feel the same as if he beat the.
So you're disagreeing. You're disagreeing. What? So hold on, CC. So you're disagreeing with Chris Lynch and Preacher that the Nets will be trying to avoid the Bucks.
No, I don't think he would.
You think they want the Bucks in the first round?
I think he wants the Bucks in the first round.
Right,
look at it like this. We're going to look. Let us analyze it like this, Pioneer.
Go ahead.
The Nets. How many players? What is the difference between the Nets last year and the Nets this year in terms of players?
They have a healthy
this player played in the Bucks series that is not in the Nets right now. And They have a healthy Kyrie. Remember, Kyrie got injured. They have a healthy Kyrie.
And they were up when Kyrie got injured, actually. I remember that they were up in the series.
And James Harden was a non-existent factor.
And James Harden was injured and hobbling also. They have Seth Curry this year. They have Patty Mills this year. They have Bruce Brown was here last year. They have Andre Drummond as a big body this year.
The mismatch for Nets versus Bucks is coaching. Coaching is the mismatch. And Kevin Durant right now would have to overcome that mismatch. Because Kevin Durant is the best player in the series if they play each other. It's just not denying Giannis and whatever he can do and stuff, But if Kevin Durant does get out of this hole, I have to be the efficient sniper.
All right. See, that is your take on one seed. But by the way, before we go, let me acknowledge some person in the stream. Want to big up Outer East. Here with us again, my brethren. Give thanks. And want to big up Gavin Lindo. Want to big up Flavor Max TV. And want to big up Paper Plate. Paper Plate actually says boxing 6. Paper Plate also says KD is my favorite player, but Giannis is a champ, bro. Put some respect on his name. First round. LOL. So you give us your take.
I have the Nets in 7.
All right, so you have the Nets in 7. Give us your take on some of the other series, prospective series.
The prospective series. So that's the Nets to face the Bucks. Then the East to face the East would face the 8 seed, right?
Yeah, man.
With the Arcs. I would think I'll probably give the Arcs. The Cavaliers look good, but them. I don't think this is the season for them in terms of going to the playoffs. But I think next season they will come back stronger and stay away from LeBron James, Cavaliers fans. But I'm saying, Arcs Heat is a tricky one because I think Heat is unraveling in terms of I think Heat's going to beat themselves. If I realized Heat was doing good. But I think based on certain internal conflict, you're starting to see certain things happening with Jimmy Butler and those guys. So I think while the Hawks might not be the better team of the Miami Heat, I think the Heat, if the Heat loses, I'm saying Heat in 7. I think Hawks will bring them to 7 games. But I think the Heat will come together and win that series. But I think the Hawks might have the better player, as in the best player in the series. But I think the Heat have the better team in the series.
Okay.
So I would say the Heat in 7.
All right. Celtics, Bulls.
Celtics,
Bulls. Yeah.
The Celtics has been on an upward trajectory. The Bulls have done well enough to justify. Since this is the best Bulls team since that gentleman who got injured.
Derrick Rose, yeah.
They have done some justice in bringing back the franchise to a respectable level in terms of making it to the playoffs and having a good, decent enough records. But this is here where their run finishes because I think the Celtics will give them a 4-1 gentleman.
Sixers Raptors, if that series comes to be.
If the Sixers Raptors series come to be, the Raptors, whilst I think the Raptors overall is a pretty decent team, I don't think Joel Embiid can afford to go out in the first round. So I'll give Joel Embiid the benefit of the doubt and say 4-2.
All right, gentlemen. Very interesting from other gentlemen. Let me acknowledge Kevin Reed. Kevin Reed said, bro, people forgetting that. And he said bet, but I know he's saying the Nets bench is a lot deeper this year. I would agree, Kevin Reed, but I think what happened is that somehow they are not playing defense on the level that yes.
Yeah, let me just quickly comment on Kevin Reed's statement. If you notice, Steve Nash has not been playing Blake Griffin. He has not been playing LaMarcus or Aldridge. Sure. Two players who are veteran players and who add size, rebounding, defensive presence. These players have not been playing, even though they are available to the team. They just released Johnson, who was getting more rotations in the team than those two players as well. So it raises questions and probably goes back to what was said about the coaching deficit that the Nets has, because it raises questions about who will be playing, who will be a part of that 9-man roster when you get into the playoffs. If you have not been including these veterans and these players who can give you scoring and give you defense.
I want something to your point, to Preacher. These two players we're talking about, Blake Griffin and Aldridge, were critical part of the rotation when they were doing well, when they were when they were at second in the standing before KD got injured.
Exactly.
So I don't know what happened, and somehow they have not found favor with Steve Nash. Big point that you just make, Preacher. Big point. So all right. So I also want to acknowledge Wandan MUFC 45. He said Bucks in 4. The Nets can't stop nobody to score on them. All right. So let me start in the middle of the standing. one of the hottest teams in this latter part of the NBA is the Toronto Raptors. They've been doing really, really, really well. Pascal Siakam is finding his footing. I was a little disappointed with how he was playing at the early part of the season, but at the late part of the season, Fred VanVleet is a killer. Don't play with him. This man is a sharpshooter. He has shown it all season. Rate Fred VanVleet. This Toronto team is dangerous. If James Harden, and I want to say this to you, CC, I hear you say Embiid, probably being in the MVP conversation, cannot afford a first round exit. If James Harden don't come to this party early, the party got done on him quickly. Because this Toronto team is not joking. They are find their footing at the end of the season. They are playing. I've watched them in a couple of games. They're playing great basketball. Pascal Siakam, Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes, the rookie. This team is looking. They're clicking. So if it's Embiid and what's his name? Maxi is playing pretty well. Harris is here and there. Danny Green. I don't like how Sixers has looked since the trade. They probably had 4 good games since Harden joined the team, but thereafter they have been looking very, very shaky. And if Harden doesn't come to the party,
after that next game, they fell apart basically.
Yeah, after that beaten by the Nets, I don't know what happened. But if Harden doesn't get it together, it's gonna be a quick exit for the Sixers. The big series now, the Bucks and the Nets. Whilst I will acknowledge that KD is KD, while I'll acknowledge that KD normally plays better defense in the playoffs, because KD is a defensive monster. A lot of people don't know that, and he saves most of his defensive efforts until the playoff. I'm expecting him to rise to that occasion. But this Bucks team, dangerous. Drew Holiday and Chris Middleton just coming in their own. They have been scoring 20 points consistently in this latter part of the season. Brook Lopez is back. Pat Connaughton, who we thought was going to be out for the season, broke. I think he broke. I don't know what he broke. We heard that he broke his leg. I was looking for him. He's back. Bobby Portis. This team is an oil machine. And Giannis is Giannis. I can't see the Nets beating the Bucks in a first round series. It's gonna be
Middleton. I don't know if people been watching Middleton. Middleton is the player that people think that James Harden should be. Middleton is like a 1-8 to Giannis.
Yeah, man. They are all machine. You can't discount the champions. They have. I think they have saved their best for this season. Drew Holiday is a player who I've read long time from the Pelicans. I think him getting a taste of being an NBA champion, this team is gonna be hard to beat. I had labeled the East a blood sport about November when I saw how things were shaping up, and this playoff season is gonna be a blood sport in the East. Mouths are gonna water if that series were to come to be. Kyrie getting injured, and a lot of persons were blaming Giannis for Kyrie's injury last year. I don't remember how that injury happened. Basically, persons thought that Giannis intentionally injured Kyrie last year. Kyrie will be itching for some revenge, seeing that when he went out of the series last year, his team was up. So this series is gonna be one to look forward to. I hear like a gentleman sleeping on the Heat. The Heat are the number 1 seed in the East, even though they have had a few little issues. But I think those little issues might do something. I mean, if you have somebody challenging your stars on the bench or off the bench, somebody like what's his name, who had a little scuff with Butler,
Udonis
Haslem. I think that it does something for the team. It can work 2 ways. But I think that since that incident, I think it has done something for the team. They have actually won more than they have lost. I think they won the last once. So I think that is doing something. Tyler Hero was out for a while. Obviously, the obvious 6th man of the year. A big part of what they do. This is a man who consistently scores 20 and 30 points a game. He's gonna be a big part of this is. I don't remember that this team was in the finals 2 years ago. And a lot of the pieces on this team are still there. Duncan Robinson, Tyler Hero, Jimmy Butler, Bam Abadeer, PJ Tucker, who was a big part of the Bucks' success last year, guarding Kevin Durant, is with the Heat now. So I think this Heat team is, I can't say anybody who is going to sit in the 8th seed, whether it be Hornets, Cavs, or Hawks, knocking off the Heat. The Heat is a well-oiled machine, well-coached team, and I think that little scuffle is going to do them well. As to the Bulls and Celtics, I think the Bulls have taken a step back from about the midway point in the season. At one point, they were in the top 2. DeRozan continues to play well. I was looking for Lonzo Ball to come back. It not seem he'll be back for the playoffs. Caruso is back, but it not seem to have the same pep in him step. Zach LaVine here and there. The team is not playing. They had a chemistry at the early part of the season, and I'm not seeing that again. So, with what the Celtics is doing, I can't see them beating the Celtics. So for me, I would obviously go with the Celtics in that matchup. Gentlemen, we're going out west now. So let's look at the Western standings as it is. As I said, it's a possibility that between today and tomorrow, things might change a bit. But let's just take the standings as it is right now, and let's just assume that everything remains as is. How would we see the standings? How would we see things going out west if things were to remain as is?
Well, let me tell you something, man. The Phoenix Suns versus the Clippers is gonna, if things remain as is, that's gonna be the wild, wild west, because the Clippers have been playing very good basketball without their 2 superstars. Now, I had said earlier in the season that I really don't want Paul George, and
to come back.
Yeah, because I think they have found something playing together as a unit that sometimes adding your superstars can take away. Well, Paul George has been back and they haven't missed a beat. And I look at Phoenix Suns, and Phoenix are a well-oiled machine. They're playing good basketball. They're poised. But if you remember last year, when these 2 teams met, it was a dogfight. And a couple of the games came down to like the last shot or the last minute of the game. So I am not sleeping on the Clippers probably upsetting this Suns team. The Clippers have the players, they have the bodies, they are deep in terms of their bench, right? They can compete with Phoenix. In fact, they're the only team, I think, that has the cachet in terms of players available to them who can actually compete with Phoenix mano a mano, man for man. So that series is going to be a tough series, and I'm actually looking forward to that series. Welcome, G-Star.
Yeah, man.
Yes.
Let's say welcome to G-Star, who's joining us a little late, but welcome forward, my brethren. It's always good to have you. I don't know how much of the conversation you have been privy to. I also want to say welcome to Cash Red in the stream. I also want to say welcome to Pagan 180. These gentlemen are always with us. We appreciate your comments, gentlemen, and we appreciate your patronage. G-Star, we'll give you a little chance to chime in a little later, but Preacher, we're still out west, Preacher. You said you're giving the Clippers a chance to compete with the red hot Phoenix Suns.
Yeah, yes, sir. I'm not sleeping on the Clippers. They have the players, they have the depth, they've been playing good basketball. And listen, they are a dangerous team right now.
All right, so we're looking at other possible series. So that would be well. The Clippers are sitting in 8th. So if they were to, they would have to lose to the Timberwolves. So there will be Clippers Timberwolves for the 7th, 8th matchup. So if they were to win that, they would be playing against the Grizzlies. If they were to lose that, then I would definitely fancy them against the Pelicans or the Spurs. So let's look at the scenario, Preacher, if they were to face the Memphis Grizzlies. Clippers versus the Memphis Grizzlies. How would you see that going?
Wow. Listen, Memphis is young and they're exciting and they're fearless. I said that earlier. I said that they were one of my high points this season. But when it comes on to the playoffs, you need people who have been there and done that sometimes. You need people who know how to make the adjustments, know how to, overcome things that may happen in a series. And so I'd still give the Clippers a hedge in a 7-game series against Memphis. I have seen something in Bledsoe as a leader on that Clippers team, galvanizing the Clippers players. That it impresses me, and they have in Zubac a big man in the middle who defensively is scary defensively. Paul George looks like he is playing within the system. He's playing within what the team is doing. He's not necessarily trying to force anything since he has come back. He looks very good. Not sure what is going to happen with Kawhi, but I would still give the Clippers an edge. I think the Clippers in 7 over either the Suns or the Memphis Grizzlies.
Something good has happened for the Clippers to preach. I want to point out to you. Norman Powell, who I rate highly, and Robert Covington, both gentlemen who they acquired at the trade window, were out with injuries and they're back. These are 2 big pieces. I agree with you, Preacher, about the depth of this Clippers team. This Clippers team is deep. When you have people like Covington, Terrence Mann, Norman Powell coming off your bench, it speaks volume to what you can do. Dangerous team, Tatum, Zubac, Morris, Reggie Jackson has been playing well. He's continued playing. His good players come over from last
apologies.
season.
I was speaking of Reggie Jackson, not Bledsoe. Sorry.
You made mention of you're speaking about Reggie Jackson. You had mentioned whose name you had called.
I said Bledsoe, but that was
Reggie Jackson. Mentioned. Yeah, man.
And don't forget the shooter, Luke
Kennard. This is a deep team, and this youngster Hartenstein has looked good. This team has depth. That
good
is Tylo. I think Tylo is
a rematch.
He's a rematch. No, we were looking at we looked at them versus the Suns, but that would only come to be G-Star if they lost the 7-8 matchup, 7-8 playing game to the
They will.
To the team, but I think T-Wolves are gonna beat them in that 7-8 matchup.
Yeah.
All right, hold on. But I'm gonna get a chance to chime in, G-Star. I think with the quality of the panel and with the amount of information we have to discuss today, we might run a little.
Listen, man, Pioneer, you can move on from me now because I'm not interested in any more series. I'm just interested in the Clippers flavor.
All right. You're just interested in the Clippers in the Out West. All right, G-Star. By the way, let's somebody had mentioned Pagan 180 had mentioned that we should probably start with the plains out west. So let's look at those. So G-Star, they'll give a chance to chime in. And let's look at the plains out west. So as it stands right now, we do have T-Wolves versus Clippers for the 7-8 and Spurs versus Pelicans for the 9-10. We'll start there, G-Star.
Yeah, I'd go the T-Wolves over the Clippers. Just because the T-Wolves are playing at home, I like what the Clippers are doing recently, and plus the matchup I want to see the rematch of Phoenix versus the Clippers in the first round. So that's who I think. And then now New Orleans versus the Spurs. That's anybody's ball game, but I think the Clippers will beat the winner
whoever comes here.
Yeah.
All right.
So it'll be Minnesota 7th going against Memphis, which would be a dandy, 2 young teams, and then the Clippers going against the Suns.
All right. So let's look at the other matchups. Because we had looked at the East, but since you joined us late, we just give a chance to look at the other matchups in the West. So tell us how you said the Clippers Suns. Tell me how you see that going. Then let's look at Golden State Nuggets. Let's look at Denver versus Jazz. If those are the series that we get, go ahead. And Grizzlies versus T-Wolves.
Yeah, as I said, I think Memphis is a good team, right? But you can never tell in the regular season. So we have to see them in the playoffs, right? Minnesota, they're also untested. Ant Endo is untested. Carl Anthony Towns untested. D'Angelo Russell untested, and Vanderbilt. The rest of the whole crew untested. So is Memphis, right? So I think that's anybody's ball game. As for Golden State versus Denver, I believe that's the matchup. I think no Michael Porter Jr. They talk about Jamal Murray coming back, but you can't really see him coming back right now and then throw him into the playoff mix, similar to Ben Simmons, but he may or may not be. But there's probably been no Steph Curry or I think for the Warriors, I think they'll try to limit Steph Curry in the first round and really bring him back to the second round. Now that's just a speculation still. But I think Golden State will get by Denver because I don't think Denver has enough. And then who would Utah be playing?
Utah be playing Dallas.
Utah playing Dallas. I have Utah winning that series because you know what I think about Dallas. It's Jalen Brunson. It's Spencer Dinwiddie. That's not enough.
No,
and I think
no love for Dinwiddie and Brunson.
No, I like those players, but they're not enough. And Chrisley, by the way,
I'm going to go directly to you from here, Chrisley. You might have a few things to say. Tell me what you think.
When them take them shot at those players, it's me basically taking a shot at.
Before you go there, Christy, we'll take your advice, Pagan 180. Look at the playing scenario first. Give us how you see those playing games going, and then we'll venture from there into the playoffs after deciding who are the winners of the playoffs.
Tyler was the coach that he know that he has to avoid the Suns. He know that he has to avoid the Suns. So in avoiding the Suns, it's obviously that he's trying for that 7th spot. Memphis, he has a better shot at a young Memphis team who hasn't proven themselves in the playoffs, and Clippers will be the favorite once Paul George is fit. So it's obvious that I think it's Timberwolves and Clippers, but Clippers finished 7th and Timberwolves finished 8th.
All right, so let's go from there now. So no matter who comes out at the 8-9, them losing to the Timberwolves. So let's go there now. Let's go to the
Suns versus
the Suns versus T-Wolves. Yeah.
T-Wolves, yeah. I think the Suns. Yeah, man, the Suns is very confident now. People must realize that this is an experienced Suns team now in terms of playoff basketball. So this is not like no team that they have went to the finals. So this is not the Utah Jazz who we know can look good in the regular season, and anybody, me and G-Star, Pioneer and CC can just go and bump them out. This is not the Utah Jazz team. This Suns team is a very serious, and people must respect them now. 3 seasons now with Chris Paul, and they're playing good basketball. Probably 5 or 6 games, because the Suns now understand that we need energy as you go deeper in the playoffs. So you need to dispatch teams early. Chris Paul instilled that in them, and they understand it now by going deep in the playoffs. So Suns in 5 or 6.
All right. Yeah, we want to stick us up in, Christian. To acknowledge Taniel Simpson. She looks like a Raptors fan. I'm seeing a Raptors jersey and everything. And she said Raptors versus Heat.
Lakers got home already, my friend.
Okay, all right.
Man on the banana boat crew, man, gone with him.
All right, Christine. So you said
so the Suns in 5 or 6 against you.
All right, and then let's take it from there now. Let's go. You said Clippers. Give the Clippers, Grizzlies. Tell me where see that going, and then.
Yeah, that one is going to be, basketball, man. I think this season is going to be a very exciting playoff season. This look like it can go to 7. Based on depends on how the Grizzlies play in the playoffs. We know that they have been playing awesome basketball, but like G Star pointed out, the playoffs is just a different beast. And this one, the Clippers have all the advantage. They have experience in coaching, and they have good bench, and they have the better players, I will think. So I have to go with the better team, Clippers.
Okay. This is a Memphis Grizzlies team that a lot of people are picking to win the whole thing, you know. So let's look at the other series, Chris Lynch. Warriors Warriors Nuggets.
Yeah, the Warriors Nuggets. I think Steph Curry comes back, like I've been touting Pioneer. It's obvious that the Warriors was safe. They weren't in no situation where they needed to rush him back. So at the time when he got the injury, injury is never good, but I guess they got it at a good time and it wasn't that bad. And I expect him to come back probably after game one, probably second game he'll come back. But the Warriors should be able to take care of business against the Nuggets. We predicted that Jordan Poole will become more, will be scoring more. But now I think Draymond Green amps up his defense and his knowledge and how he wants this offense of this Warriors team to function.
By the way, I want to remind you, gentlemen, a couple of weeks ago, and I cannot make this pass, I've thought about it. I said to you that give me Jordan Poole over Ben Simmons any day. I remember we were talking about a prospective Ben Simmons to the Warriors trade. And I said I would not remove Jordan Poole from my team to put in Ben Simmons. I want you gentlemen take a note of what Jordan Poole has been doing recently. Now you get a chance now to respond to G-Star Chris Lynch about the Jazz in the Jazz versus Dallas series. Him taking shots at Dinwiddie and Brunson. Tell us how you see that series going.
Yeah, this is a team again. Memphis Grizzlies again. Luka is the best player in this series. The Jazz Pioneer, you know I have tell you about this Jazz team. They are good. They are good in the playoffs. Shooting looks good. Jordan Clarkson looks good. Everyone looks good around their leader, Donovan Mitchell, until the playoffs. He has to be carrying too much of a load. And I think Spencer Dinwiddie has given Luka some very good help. Brunson, they will come alive. This series not going past 5 or 6 game mark.
So you say Jazz in 5 or 6?
Yeah.
All right.
No, Jazz in 5 or Mavs in 5?
Mavs in 5. Sorry about that. Mavs in 5. CC, I give you a chance to go out west. You don't go out west yet, CC.
No, so
All right, CC. All right, out west. Out the west was one, my brethren.
I was saying to you, it is so funny that you have the Chef Curry serving up nuggets.
Not bad. That's a bad one. That's a bad
But
one.
I'm telling you, when I think Curry might come back, because the thing about the people now look fun, even if Curry is 80%, then he has to come back. Remember, you won't have LeBron James in the playoff. So you know viewership and all these things.
Yeah.
So you can't have so many stars not playing. Kawhi won't play.
Sure.
You can't have so many stars.
And people predicting an early KD exit. So you need some spice. You need a chef to cook up some spice.
I want to talk about that later.
I am telling you that KD facing the Bucks will be the best thing. Because if he beats the Bucks, that means the series will only get easier and the part of the final.
All right.
So it's better to face the tougher team first, but I'm just saying. But let us just see.
Yeah.
But I have the Warriors. Let me look at the standing because I'm not sure.
Warriors 3, Nuggets 6. Jazz 4. Jazz 5, Dallas 4th.
I'm not think I can back out of my early picking when we did say the Warriors are got the conference final.
All right.
I'm going back from that. But the Suns, if the Warriors can't face the Suns early, it's the Warriors-Suns conference final for me. And that the better of both teams will come out. I think the Suns will end up going back to the final, back-to-back final. Give Chris Paul a chance another chance at getting this title here. But I think so. I have the Suns winning their series. If the Suns, that is the Suns playing Clippers, I have the Suns winning that series. I have the Memphis Grizzlies versus Timberwolves. Memphis, Minnesota. That series is difficult to call now. Grizzlies versus Timberwolves.
Yeah.
I have the Grizzlies in 7.
Okay.
Because I'm assuming that the standings will stay as it is.
Yeah, man, that's how we're looking at it. If it changes, then next week. If it changes, then next week when we come forward, we adjust our.
Unless Zion comes back and play for the Pelicans.
And that we don't see that. We don't see that.
Yeah.
You should.
If Zion comes back, I have the Pelicans going into the playoff. But
Really?
otherwise,
So if Zion, so hold on, stick up in there, see. So if Zion come back, all right. So that means that them definitely gonna beat the Spurs, that is in 9-10. So if they come back, and let's say who do you have winning the
I
Timberwolves versus the Clippers
have
play?
Clippers beating Timberwolves.
Okay, so that means the Timberwolves would now move
But
down
I
to.
have Pelicans beating Timberwolves if Zion comes.
Okay. Interesting. Very interesting. All right. I said Warriors over Nuggets. How you see Dallas and Jazz going if that remains as it is?
I don't. What I said, Warriors over Nuggets, but the Suns will play. The Suns now gonna play Clippers. The Clippers are gonna get seven seed.
Okay, so the Suns would play whoever you see coming out of the T-Wolves.
And that's the Suns going through.
All right. So the only series you haven't commented on yet is the Dallas and Utah Jazz series.
Dallas and Utah Jazz. I think Dallas and Utah Jazz is a toss up because Dallas have the better playing Luka Doncic with more spot up shooters around. I think Luka has the perfect mix in terms of like how they would set up teams for LeBron James. We'd have spot up shooters and those stuff. I think it's the same way they have set up this Mavericks team for Luka Doncic. So I think I have Luka eating Jazz because at the end of the day, the Jazz can off and puff, but Rudy Gobert will get you probably 18 rebound. But in really, and apart from the stats, the eye test are telling us Rudy Gobert them not good.
All right.
What do
you think about Donovan Mitchell and Jordan Clarkson and?
I mean, I'm telling you, Jordan Clarkson to me hasn't learned how to play basketball as yet.
Oh.
Because LeBron James said something to Kyrie Irving. I'm not fully quoting, but it was when Kyrie got the 0 assist game.
And
I think with Jordan Clarkson, when I said don't learn how to play basketball as yet, I mean in terms of picking when your areas in throwing, when to pass the ball, when to shoot, when to certain look at the aspect of the game. I think he's like, what I say now, them bully ball players there, where shooting. That's
all right, but to be fair to him though, CC, I think this is a rule that the coach has kind of designed for him. Coming off the bench, he has a license to shoot.
Yeah,
so,
I don't have any problem with that.
I understand what you're saying. You probably look for a little more playmaking from him. But I think the rule, and he has been in this role for 2 years now. I think he comes off the bench with a license to shoot. We have seen him drop 40.
He's always been like that.
We have seen him drop 45 coming off the bench. And we have seen him have some big games. Last year, Christian and I had a little, that was a wager, but it was like a little competitive thing where I was stacking him up. Christian was saying when it comes down to crunch time in the playoffs, you'll get slippery fingers.
Just like Joe Harris.
And sticky palms. And he played pretty well until that final series that they lost.
Yeah, but all right, look at it like this. But I'm saying to you that he's what? Maybe a combo guard, he's point guard, shooting guard, wherever you put it. For example, Kyrie is a shooting guard masquerading as a point guard because of his ball handling abilities.
All right, fair enough.
But I'm saying that Clarkson would more be impactful in the game if he gives you like 18 and 10, more than a 40 one night, and then
in a sense, what you're saying, you look for more like a Tyler Hero kind of role. Tyler Hero will come off the bench. He will drop 20, but he'll get you 6 assists in the process.
Yeah,
I think something like that from Jordan Clarkson.
I think it serves the team better because when he gets back and gets going, the rest of the team not necessarily involved. If you really look into it, when he's dropping his 45 game, who is the next player in terms of when you look on the stat sheet?
I get what you're saying. I get the point.
No man, Utah have depth enough. Bogdanovich, Mike Conley, Donovan Mitchell. They have scorers.
Them have people like Whiteside this year.
They have enough scorers.
So you're looking for some more playmaking from Clarkson.
Yeah, some more facilitating, some more playmaking.
No, man, I agree with you still in CT. He's like a wind-up tie. You just wind him up and he just goes.
So that's why I said.
So you said Dallas. You're picking Dallas in that series, CC.
I'm picking Dallas in the series.
All right, G-Star. Since you weren't here when we went out east, my virgin, we'll give you a chance to Take a
Thank
scope,
you.
take a look at what's going on out here. I mean, know you're eager to speak about, and you and CC seem to be brothers in arms here where the Nets are concerned. G Star CC is the biggest Brooklyn Nets fan.
That's fine.
So tell me how you see a possible rematch. Tell me if you were in Steve Nash's shows, G Star, because Chris Lynch and Preacher was suggesting earlier that if maybe it would be in the Nets' best interest to avoid the Bucks early. CC disagrees. CC is saying, why not shoot them out of the sky from early and make the way clearer? You will give me your snaps on that, and then you will tell me how do you see a possible series going between these two teams, and then give me an overall viewpoint and how you see it going out east.
All right, is that madness really draw me out what Chris Lynch was talking about today, now? Big and serious, you know. Yeah, man. That nonsense about avoiding the Bucks. Now you have to understand this. When Miami had give the Bucks a gentleman sweep, the Bucks wanted a rematch against Miami and swept them last season.
Here you go.
So
Yes.
the team that beat you the last year, that's the team you want to play against. Just like on the playground, if a team beat you, that's the team you want them win so you can get right back at them. Right?
Bitter taste. You have that bitter taste in your mouth from last year.
And that is what Brooklyn has this year. They're probably not talking about it, right? And it's so ironic that Chris Lynch is saying this right now, because last year, I'm pretty sure Chris Lynch was saying, I'm not sure Chris Lynch, I'm just speculating now, that the Nets would have beaten the Bucks if Kyrie didn't get injured. Well, Kyrie's back. So what's the difference? Okay, fine. They don't have Joe Harris. We've seen what James Harden has been doing. But to bring it back to the present now, I think that CC was right on the money. If you can, everybody has the Bucks as the championship favorite. If you can beat the Bucks right out of the gate, and they're motivated, that's the mouth-watering series that everybody wants, right? That's proper. So do I believe that the Nets are going to beat the Bucks? Of course I believe that. Is a man said? The Bucks are absolutely formidable. Giannis has gotten better twofold. His jump shot is on the money. He's making his free throws, and then plus the Bucks, they have championship metal. Is a man said? So, but at the end of the day, though, I think it's going to be a fantastic series, and I think that the Nets will get it done. In that last regular season game with the Bucks, I saw something very disturbing though, and that's from the Nets. What I saw is that it's a critical moment in the game. The Nets were up by 9. Kevin Durant is supposed to box out Wesley Matthews. Kevin Durant is 7 feet. Wesley Matthews is about 6'5", and he couldn't box out Wesley Matthews on a free throw. Huge play.
Let me help you there, G-Star. And I said this earlier, and this is an observation that I have made because I watch KD carefully. KD is a very, very underrated defender. But when it comes playoff time, his defensive prowess comes to the fore. I've seen it happen. Just look at last year's series.
I agree.
Look at last year's series.
But what I want you to look at though, Pioneer, I want you to look at not just his defense, it's the physicality. There's a physicality. No, you can say KD is extremely mager. So you may not have that physicality. But in the playoffs, you need an element of physicality. Kyrie Irving was going to box out the shooter instead of Kevin Durant. Kyrie Irving 6'1". Why is Kyrie Irving boxing out the shooter on the free throw line and not Kevin Durant? Most people not going to look at plays like that in the blood. But those are critical plays.
How do you see that series going, G-Star? Possibly Bucks versus Nets in 6.
Yeah.
All right. So you don't see a repeat of a game 7 from last year.
No, I think the Nets in 6, whether Ben Simmons
Kevin Durant
is
and
there
Kyrie
or
Irving catch fire. The Nets start playing good defense, unlike that they have been doing in recent weeks, and they beat the Bucks in 6. All right,
yeah, but the Nets had the defensive switch.
Slide through the rest of the East. So
right. Our next series that's close to the heart.
Yes.
But as Daniel Simpson alluded to, the Toronto Raptors versus the Philadelphia 76ers.
76ers. Yeah, G-Star is Tanil, you have support here. G-Star is a Toronto man too. Former Canadian resident. Still a Canadian resident.
Yeah,
A Canadian
Scarborough.
citizen, but a Jamaican resident. So,
Yeah,
Canada is close to his heart, Tanil. So you have some company here in G-Star. So Sixers versus Toronto G-Star. Where is that going?
I think that will also be a fabulous series. Joel Embiid has himself said that nobody in the NBA gives him like a tougher matchup than the Toronto Raptors. That's because of the head coach, Nick Nurse. Nick Nurse is an absolute genius of a head coach. Super underrated. He's probably top 3 in the league as a coach.
I don't know if I'll go top 3, but very, very good coach.
For me, definitely top 3. Definitely top 3. If you want to say Popovich is 1, I have Nick Nurse as at a 2 or 3.
All right.
All right. So coaching, they definitely have that advantage, and y'all know what I think about Doc Rivers. He's just a motivational speaker, right? And then now the players know. You see, what my Toronto family, what they usually allude to when it comes to the Toronto Raptors is that they don't have in the playoffs, they don't have a bucket getter, like a real bucket getter. Now for me, we're going to see in the playoffs, I'm saying that they call him Spicy P in Toronto, Pascal Siakam. I made
mention of him earlier, Virgin, what he's doing now.
Yeah, I think Pascal Siakam, I believe he will be that bucket getter, but clearly we have to see. There's a baller named Precious Achua. I really thank Miami for giving him to us in the Kyle Lowry trade. You know, Kyle Lowry is probably the greatest Raptor, but he needed to go. Fred VanVleet, Scotty Barnes, Precious, Pascal. We have a nice team up there. And then a young youth named
OG Anunoby, who was out with injury, is coming back.
And plus OG Anunoby. So the Raptors have length, they have depth, they have scoring, they have defense, they have the coach, and then now flip it to Philly. James Harden looks a little bit washed, right? So we know that Joel Embiid is the man. There's nobody's really gonna stop Joel Embiid. But the question with Philly is James Harden going to play like a superstar? And I personally don't think so. So I have the Raptors winning that series.
Yeah, G-Star, I'm cutting in on you because you know why?
Sure.
When this trade was done, G-Star was one of the persons who says that Philly won the trade, and that James Harden was going to make Joel Embiid better. Now G-Star is saying he's not expecting Philly, James Harden, to play like a superstar. G-Star, you're inconsistent at best.
No, preacher. That's why you cannot be a good lawyer. Is Ben Simmons playing for the Brooklyn Nets?
But James Harden was also not playing good basketball for the Nets. James Harden wanted out. He was sabotaging the Nets.
He would have. Once the trade deadline passed, believe me, the Nets would have been in a better position if they had kept James Harden. Even though Drummond and Seth Curry is playing decent. You get me? So any more,
stick up in. Let me try it. Let me see if I can be your assistant, what you call now, prosecutor here, preacher. So G-Star, you're saying now that at this point, you have lowered expectation with James Harden going to Philly.
Yeah, because I don't like what I see from him.
Where you saw things at the trade window, at the trade deadline, when the trade was made, your expectation and how high you were on Philly at that time, now you have somewhat lowered your expectation at this point.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Yeah. So even with that, you still might fall in the trap of, because Ben Simmons could very well come back in the postseason or even next year and ball out, and then
next year don't come. Next year
have
count.
To say,
This year, if Ben Simmons comes back, then I'll have to go back on my words and say Nets won the trade. But if Ben Simmons don't play, there's no way the Nets can win that trade, bro.
Seth Curry has been playing great basketball for the Nets, by the way.
I wouldn't say great. He's playing well.
No, man, he was out injured and he came back the other night and he was solid. And he has been playing very good basketball.
No, he was.
Very good basketball. Very good basketball.
Yeah, moving on to the next one, though.
All right, go ahead. Next series.
That's why I interrupt G-Star with all of that confidence that you have. That little
Yeah.
30% that I see Kyrie shooting, I expect it to get better, but you're a very confident man because you see Kyrie shooting that and you said the Nets are so good that they're going to beat the Bucks. But let's see G Star.
No, Chris Lynch. No, all right, Pioneer. After retard. Chris Lynch, you have to understand, there's roles in basketball. Kyrie Irving's role is to be the second scorer or the leading scorer in certain games. Sometimes you can't control whether the ball goes in or whether the ball goes out. But if you watch Kyrie Irving play, the shots that he takes is shots that he can make. Some games you just don't make the shots. One game he's shooting 30%. The next game he went 8 for 16 from three. And furthermore, Kevin Durant needs the assistance. You cannot have Kevin Durant shooting 35 shots a ball game. He needs somebody to take the pressure off. So whether Kyrie's missing or making, it still helps the Nets to be a better basketball team, right? In Chicago versus Boston.
Hold on, a G Star. But
Okay. Everybody want to time in on that one, yeah? Yeah.
I would want to say to Chris Lynch that if Kyrie was actually shooting 50% from the something, he would be in the 50, 40, 90 club. His average for 3 points for the season is 41%. So yeah, you might miss in some games and you might not come off, but he's averaging 46, 41, 90% shooting.
No, I know what he's talking about, CC. He's talking about since he's become a full-time player. That's really what you're saying, right, Chris Lynch?
Yeah.
And recently, in like the last 6 or 7 games since he's been a full-time
Gentlemen.
player.
All right, gentlemen, we have about 5 minutes left on the stream. G-Star, I'll make you slide through the rest of the East, and then we'll, just look at things. Do a look at overview.
Yeah, the salivating matchups, we went through them already. Milwaukee Nets, Philadelphia 76ers versus the Raptors. Those are the two big ones. Now, Chicago versus Boston, we don't need to go over that. It's going to be Boston, right? Hopefully,
Right.
Robert Williams is back in the second round. And then Miami versus, maybe Atlanta, you'd say?
Mm-hmm.
Y'all know what I think about Miami. I've said it already. I think Miami is a regular season team, but they don't have the star power to take them too far. So for me, Miami is ripe for a first round loss.
You're upset.
Upset.
Yeah?
Yeah. If they play Atlanta.
You're sleeping on Miami like that, G-Star.
I don't respect
No
Miami
love and
like
ratings to Tyler Hero and Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo and PJ Tucker and
Tyler
Kyle
Hero is
Lowry.
a baller. Tyler Hero is a baller. Jimmy Butler
Duncan
a baller.
Robinson.
Here's my thing with the Miami Heat, and I want you to watch it when the playoffs roll around. Bam Adebayo is not aggressive enough. He needs to be more, especially because he's like probably the focal point in the offense, but he's a focal point just to set picks and to pass. Bam Adebayo should be giving you 25 points, 20 to 25 points every single night in the playoffs, but he's not aggressive enough. If he gets aggressive enough, they can do some damage. But when he's not, I just don't rate Miami. And then Jimmy Butler is not shooting his threes well. He's too inconsistent offensively. And without Jimmy Butler and without Bam Adebayo, what does Miami have? Kyle Lowry? Come on. Kyle Lowry.
Gentlemen, we wrap up in 3 minutes. I apologize to the fans, and there are people who look forward to this show. And as it is evident by the loyal following that we have in the comment section, people like Pagan 180, people like Paper Plate, people like Manu FC. We apologize for the last 3 weeks that we were out, but this is the business end of the NBA season, folks, and we will be here. We'll be here at least twice a week to report on games and to assess and analyze what's happening around the NBA. Gentlemen, in closing, I'm going to ask you for one thing. Tell me who you see coming out. I know we all had our picks at the beginning of the season, but seeing everything that has happened in the regular season, and now we are entering the playoff, I want you to tell me just 2 teams. Who you see coming out of the East, who you see coming out of the West at this point. We might have revised our picks, gentlemen, based on how the regular season has transpired. So all 5 of us in here, we're going to give who we see coming out of the East, who we see coming out of the West, and then we're going to close out the podcast here. Preacher, I'm going to start with you. Welcome forward.
Yeah, man. Sorry about the camera. I just wanted to preserve my
Right, so understand. Understand.
Well, I'm riding with the Clippers coming out of the West.
Wow.
I think
What
I think
are the preacher?
what?
That's a fanboy.
Preacher have a side
No.
in the eighth, you know. And
No,
I
I'm
say
not-
side come out, you know. Notice
I'm
now,
not-
preacher have a side in eighth and say the side is coming out.
No,
But
no
the
matter,
side
man, but hold on.
No, but we can bash it, Pioneer. We can bash it.
Hold on. Me defend preacher on this one. Listen, CC. A couple of days ago, the Nets were in 10th, and person still had them winning the championship.
Thank you very much.
If
Thank you very
if the
much.
Clippers seeing everything that has happened for them because I mentioned Norman Powell and Robert Covington coming back, and
Paul
we
George
mentioned
is back.
Paul George coming back. So
Yep. The
we
depth.
can't not the pick. The man I give him pick. See,
depth-
the man give him pick.
The depth.
Reggie Jackson playing like a star.
All right.
Reggie
But
Jackson.
Kawhi will have to
The
come
depth.
back. If Kawhi comes back, sure. But without
The
Kawhi,
coaching.
G-Star,
The coaching.
G-Star,
The
the man is
coaching.
giving his pick, gentlemen. Not allow the man
Listen.
to give him pick. The man says he
I-
has the Clippers coming out of the West. Who
Yeah,
have
the
coming out of
Clippers.
East,
The
Preacher?
Clippers coming out of the West, and this one's going to be a shocker. But yeah, I'm actually going to pick the Nets.
Wow.
that's not a shock.
It's strange enough.
That's not a shock. That's
All
not a
right,
shock.
so that, for Preacher, the Clippers and Nets NBA final. Got to
Yeah.
your Chris Lynch. Where you sit them? How you're seeing it, Chris Lynch? After
Repeat the two best teams in basketball, the Bucks and the Suns face again.
all right, but
That was
repeat
easy.
the last,
No
yeah,
Chris
last year.
Lynch,
All right, that's a man's pick. G-Star. See,
Yeah. I just said I know, Chris.
Nets
Right.
and the Suns. We have Nets Suns final.
You have Nets and Suns in the final.
Yeah.
G-Star, what you say?
Brooklyn Nets versus the Warriors.
All right, you're the Warriors. All right.
Yeah.
Boy, so now me have the hard task of closing this out. But the Warriors obviously is my team. But the Warriors at the
You're not
Warriors.
going against the Warriors.
Hold on, G-Star. And you see, I like to speak things into being before them happen, you know. And I have been at this point for the entirety of the season. All right, I've said this. The Warriors have one deficiency. Even with Steph Curry being injured, even with Clay being out, Draymond out of the season, the Warriors' Achilles heel has continued to be their lack of a big man presence. I think that is going to be the downfall of my team in the playoffs. All right, teams like Phoenix Suns, they have DeAndre Ayton, they have Chevel McGee, they have gone for Bismack Biyombo. As I said, they go deep. They got three players deep at every single position. You're talking about three quality players. The Phoenix Suns has three quality players at every single position on the basketball court. And that is my reason for picking them to come out of the West. Defeating my Golden State Warriors team in the conference final. All right, because I can't see nobody beating Phoenix. They are too deep.
We have been a Pioneer.
Come again. I didn't hear.
I'm saying it was the same conference final I have, and for the same reason I'm gonna think Golden State are gonna beat them.
They're just too deep. And if you look at the point guard position, Chris Paul, Landry Shamet, Cam,
and them can go big, and them
they
can
can go
play
big, they can go
small.
small, them versatile. And something I pointed out, G-Star, before you came, G-Star. Something I pointed out before you came in. I've seen, and I'd mentioned the Lakers and the Knicks choking up big leads. I've seen Phoenix in a lot of games where they were down by 15 going into the fourth quarter. And they have money. This says a team that has confidence. This is almost like a team that is like a drilling, is like a soldier drilling, it's like a drill sergeant drilling his soldiers for war, putting them in difficult situations and difficult circumstances and have them coming out of it. And that is why
one thing about the Suns. What I like about the Suns is that they've become machine-like. You know what I mean? When I say machine,
regimental, man.
And their execution, the way how they execute, it's machine-like. So I give them that. Go ahead.
All right, and in the East, the East is a blood sport. I've said that all season, but after everything that has happened in the East right now, I have the Bucks and the Heat in the Eastern Conference Finals. I think the Nets have. I had the Nets at one point, but I think the Nets have shown too much deficiencies. G-Star, may I give this much? Steve Nash is exposing his lack of coaching credentials. I think he'll be the downfall of the Nets. We can't see Blake Griffin. We can't see Lamarcus Aldridge. I don't know why he's not playing these gentlemen.
I don't know why either. I don't know why.
And that has exposed a lot of deficiencies in the defense. Last year, Blake Griffin was the man guarding Giannis at one point. I don't know why you wouldn't have Blake Griffin even getting a little bit, a limited rotation at the latter part of the regular season.
He will
So that
play
he
in the
can
playoffs.
tune up
Watch it. I
playoffs.
can guarantee you, Blake Griffin. We will see Blake Griffin in the playoffs.
Yeah, but why not
because
have
he's
him
not the
tune up?
best guy.
Why not have him tune up at least in a couple of games at the end of the season? So,
Your guess is as good as mine.
defensive deficiency is gonna be the downfall of the Nets, and for that reason, I have the Bucks coming out of the East, and I think I agree with Chris Lynch. It's a repeat of last year's final. I have the Bucks versus the Phoenix Suns in the finals. Gentlemen, I want to say thanks to everybody who was a part of the stream. Tennille Simpson sounds like a female. The Toronto Raptors fan. Want to say welcome forward and thanks for being a part of the stream. Kevin Reed, Pagan 180, everybody who was a part of the stream earlier. People like Paper Plate, Wandan MUFC, wanted to thank you. Cash Red, good for you to have joined us, my brethren. Flavor Max TV, Outer East, wants to bless up yourself. Thank you very much. For the viewers, we said to you people, like the video. Please like the video and watching if you like the content. Subscribe to the channel. This is a growing channel. And feel free to share the content also. I know there are a lot of basketball lovers in Jamaica, in the diaspora, and as far as the channel reaches. So if you like what we're doing, share the channel. There's a Jamaican channel here that discusses basketball at a high level. And this is I Am Sure Sports. And this is a program we call Around the NBA, and we will be here again soon. My name is Pioneer. It was good for you to have joined us, and we thank you very much for your patronage. See you again soon.